Not Old Better Show Prevention Magazine Healthy Living Interview Series on radio and podcast. The show covering all things health, wellness, culture, and more. The show for all of us who aren't old, we're better. Each week, we'll interview superstars, experts, and ordinary people doing extraordinary things, all related to this wonderful experience of getting better, not just older. Now, here's your host, the award-winning Paul Vogelzang.
Welcome to the Not Old Better Show Prevention Magazine Health and Wellness Interview Series on radio and podcast. I'm Paul Vogelzang, and this is our next installment of our Editor-in-Chief series with Sarah Smith. Today we have another engaging episode in collaboration with Prevention Magazine. We are tackling some of the most pressing health topics crucial for our audience, adults over 60 who are committed to living their best lives. Let's get right into it. We have another packed show. Of course, we will be joined immediately by Sarah Smith, the editor-in-chief at Prevention Magazine, for our issue overview. And we are springing ahead a little bit with Sarah today. You know, with longer daylight hours upon us, Sarah and I will explore rejuvenating activities perfect for older adults. You're going to want to hear this. Next, we tackle a crucial health concern, and that's cancer. There's a sea of information out there, of course, but what's myth and what's fact? We'll debunk common misconceptions about cancer causes and risks. Sarah will answer questions about dietary choices like sugar intake. What about aspartame as a sweetener? Sarah Smith cites several expert insights that will guide you through the latest findings. Lastly, our feature story, How to Keep Your Body Young. Sarah says this isn't just about looking good, it's about feeling good and staying healthy. We'll share key strategies to keep your brain, joints, skin, and heart young and vibrant, especially for those of us over age 60. The article and Sarah's overview will teach us how to integrate simple daily practices into your routine to maintain youthfulness in these critical areas. We will wrap up with Sarah and be joined by Catherine Ross Nash, an esteemed figure in the world of Pilates and a beacon of health and wellness. What truly sets Catherine Ross Nash apart is her profound understanding of using Pilates as a powerful tool for pain relief and physical rejuvenation. In her March 2024 Prevention Magazine article, she'll talk about Pilates. She'll introduce us to it today. She'll talk also about stretching away the pain and how Catherine has developed a program specifically called the Red Thread Method, which can be an effective way to manage and alleviate pain, especially for those of us embracing our senior years. Check out the March 2024 Prevention Magazine issue for photos, how-tos, and stretching guidance technique from Catherine Ross Nash. This episode promises to be both informative and inspiring, tailored to you, our seasoned listeners who are passionate about living their best lives. So stay tuned as we dive into these compelling topics, offering expert advice and actionable tips for your wellness journey. Please join me in welcoming the editor-in-chief of Prevention Magazine, Sarah Smith. Sarah Smith, welcome back to the program.
Thank you so much, Paul.
It's always so great to talk to you. Happy spring. We're going to talk about the March issue of Prevention Magazine. I love spring. I love all the flowers. I love the weather. We get outside. You and I are going to talk about some of those kind of things today, keeping your body young. Lots of great stories coming up in the March edition. But I noticed I always love flipping through the pages of the magazine, and I come to the Pulse section where I kind of get engaged. I have to tell you, I kind of like to just make those notes and kind of think about what springing ahead will actually mean to me. You know, what that is going to do. Will it help me with sleep? Will it help me, just enjoy the sunlight and being outdoors? And I just want to call our audience's attention to the Pulse section again, because springing ahead is it's here finally, and we're just going to enjoy the time as we always do. But welcome to you. Congrats on another great issue. I wonder, anything strike you about springing ahead?
Well, when we work on this issue, because we work far in advance, we are thinking about springing ahead in the deepest, darkest winter. And I tell you, writing this page and picking the photo that goes with it just brought a lot of joy to everyone
Yeah.
in the dark winter. But as we are starting to get closer to it, it's really nice to think about, what's that going to bring for me? What do I want to, how can I make the most of these little extra time that we get? When we spring forward, we have a little more, light at the end of the day,
Right,
and
right.
when we pass the equinox,
Right,
then the whole world cracks open. It's so nice. So, prevention, we love walking, and I love walking.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I look forward to the evening walks, walking, being outside after a meal is really powerful for your health, your digestion, and your mental health. And so I look forward to that as the spring comes, being able to go outside for a little bit with my family and our dog.
Oh gosh, well that's great to hear. Yeah, I can just feel it. It is something that is eagerly anticipated here too. We get excited about spring, especially that daylight savings time, and just having that little time after dinner is really a wonderful time. So good. Well, great. Again, congrats on this issue. We are talking today about March, and one of the wellness articles that jumped out to me that I know is going to be so important, powerful for our audience is the article that has to do with myths about cancer. Cancer is an enormous issue for so many in our country, throughout the world. And you've written this wonderful piece. It's in the March edition of Prevention Magazine, The Myths About Cancer. What do we really know about the causes and the risks? And I wonder if you can help us for a few minutes here, debunking some of those common myths and just kind of telling us about the story and how it came about.
I think at Prevention, we will talk about daylight saving and that extra hour, but we will also talk about cancer.
Yeah.
You're getting the gamut of health here. And I think it's really important that we have those moments of joy and happy mental health, and then the moments of let's talk seriously about serious illness. And with cancer, one of the things I found really interesting is that only 5 to 10% of cancer cases are really linked to genetics. And I think whether you think that's good news or bad news depends on your perspective. But I think it's important to know that, and to know that what it means is that there are a lot of cancer risks that are modifiable. Like smoking is sort of the big one that everyone knows. Then, because quitting really can reduce your risk. But also, remembering to wear your sunscreen, limiting your processed food, exercising, all of these things are actually contributing to your, you're staying healthy. And of course, that is with the caveat of, anyone, of course, can get cancer. It's not your fault if you get it. But I just think it's important to know that, there are things that are worth doing to keep yourself healthy. And then if you do get cancer, regardless, then you are in a healthy place to then, go through the treatment.
One of the things I found in the article too that I hadn't really heard, but I found that this was a real myth, and that is that sugar, eating less of it, is a potential risk. Is that myth or fact?
Well, I think there's this idea that reducing your sugar intake reduces your cancer, if you have cancer, because the idea is that cancer cells consume more glucose. So if you think, well, if I'm not giving it the glucose, it's not going to have anything to do. And, unfortunately, the truth is that a tumor cell, as one of our experts explained to us, it doesn't have any trouble finding more glucose. Like everybody has glucose in their body. It's in healthy foods. It's everywhere. So absolutely cutting out sugar isn't going to starve that cancer. But the actual sugar connection is that a diet high in sugar can lead to weight gain and inflammation and other things that then lead to cancer. So, we're saying don't eat too much. Don't think you have to eat none. It's this sort of holistic, overall healthy lifestyle that is going to help you, again, in possibly preventing, but then also in your treatment course.
Great. So helpful. Yeah. Important subject.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The other article that I just found to be fascinating, I know our audience is going to appreciate this too, is the feature story about the brain, the joints, the skin, and heart, and how to keep your body young. I think that's on our minds too. So maybe tell us about some of those strategies that are going to keep the brains, the joints, the skin, hearts young and healthy, particularly for those of us over 60.
Yeah, what we are trying to do in this story is help people understand how to build resilience in your physical body. We've talked a lot about resilience in recent years on, mental health and bouncing back from hardship, and that's really important. But your body also has the ability to get stronger from the inside out, and that's what keeps your body young longer, right? That's what keeps your body healthy as you age, and you have control over it. You can do things, right? So when it comes to your brain, yes, our brains shrink as we age, as our body changes as we age, but you can fight that because you can hold on to more brain volume. And one of the ways to do that is socializing. We've heard about an epidemic of loneliness, and it is a true health issue because what your brain needs is conversation and people. I mean, it needs novelty. It needs new things. Like we've heard that, play a different game, walk a different route to the subway. But talking to someone on the way, on the phone, someone you meet, someone new that you meet, maybe be that person who says, "Hi, crazy weather we're having," right? And because any connections like that is building those brain connections, and that it truly does keep you young.
The biggie, of course, in this month's issue, along with some of these other articles that you've mentioned, has to do with the In Focus section and pain. We spoke with Catherine Ross Nash about Stretching Away Your Pain, a wonderful prevention book about this subject. But I wonder if you'd talk a little bit about the Focus section, and in particular, tell our audience a little bit about the gender aspects of pain. I found that to be really an interesting element.
Yeah, it's really interesting. We devoted quite a number of pages to pain in this issue, and I'm so glad that you have talked to Kathy because she is truly an expert in how to stretch away pain, right? And to really alleviate pain because a lot of people deal with pain on a regular basis. And what we've learned is when we, looked into this issue is that women do have conditions that are more painful, or they're more beset by things like headaches, lower back pain, and autoimmune issues. But at the same time, doctors aren't necessarily taking their pain seriously, and they think that they're overreacting. So it's very frustrating experience for women to be in. And so, we've got some advice for people in this issue to make sure that they're heard. And one of the interesting things I think is that women tend to explain their pain through, how it feels, not just physically, but emotionally, because that's what's happening. But when you only have that short time with a doctor, it's really helpful to be really specific and get to the point and say where the pain hurts and what you've already done to manage it and how it affects your day-to-day life. Like, because I have this pain that is right here in this leg, I am not able to get in and out of my car, and I drive to work every day, right? So then they're getting this really clear picture of what is wrong, how it's affecting you, and you're just more likely to get answers and be taken seriously.
And one of the experts that we talked to, who's featured in the piece and in this article, the In Focus piece on pain, is Catherine Ross Nash. We had a great conversation with Kathy Ross Nash about pain. Kathy Ross Nash is the author of the prevention book, Stretching Away the Pain, which I found online, and we will put links so that our audience can find out more about that. But maybe you'd help me introduce Kathy Ross Nash, Sarah, and tell us a little bit about her, because she's just a fascinating person and a great subject for our interview. So stay tuned, everybody. But yeah, go ahead, Sarah, tell us.
She is an incredible expert in the human body and how it works and how to keep it functioning well. She's a dancer, she's a Pilates instructor, and she is so knowledgeable and helpful and thorough. I've never met someone so thorough. You should see this book that she did for us, Stretch Away Pain. I mean, it is every stretch, every pain. You are going to find answers in that book. Like in this issue, we pulled out a few stretches that are really helpful for back pain. But I mean, we could have picked anything, Paul, and she would have had answers. So I'm really glad that you spoke with her. And I think people will really find relief and support when they hear from her.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this conversation that you all will hear in just a moment. So stay tuned. But Sarah Smith, thank you so much again for your time. Smith, have a great rest of your day. Thanks. Congratulations on another great issue.
Thank you so much. Always great to talk to you.
Hi, everybody. We're just going to take a quick break before we introduce the next guest. But at the Not Old Better Show, we understand the journey of aging gracefully. That's why we've partnered with Prevention Magazine, your trusted companion in health and wellness for over 70 years. Just like the Not Old Better Show, Prevention Magazine's commitment to your well-being and happiness has never wavered. Join us each month on the Not Old Better Show for exclusive insights from Prevention Magazine. We dive deep into topics that matter to you, from health to happiness. Personally, I've been a long-time Prevention Magazine subscriber, including the All Access plan. You can subscribe to Prevention Magazine too. Unlock a treasure trove of health and wellness knowledge, and join us here on the Not Old Better Show for in-depth, behind-the-scenes information and more. And that's just the beginning. This year, May, June, the rest of 2024 are filled with invaluable insights. This April, for example, we're covering essential topics like sleep tips, the best walking shoes, and ways to battle nausea. Check back with us monthly for our deep dive with these exclusive interviews. I personally recommend Prevention Magazine for staying informed and empowered. So join our vibrant community at prevention.com. The Not Old Better Show and Prevention Magazine, celebrating life together. Visit Prevention Magazine's website at prevention.com. Well, that wraps up our section with Sarah Smith, and now we're going to bring in Kathy Ross Nash, who, as I mentioned, is an esteemed figure in the world of Pilates and a beacon of health and wellness herself. Kathy has a profound understanding of using Pilates as a powerful tool for pain relief and physical rejuvenation. You're going to love hearing from her. Her March 2024 Prevention Magazine article has photos along with it, so check that out. But please join me in welcoming author Kathy Ross Nash. Kathy Ross Nash, welcome to the program. It's so great to talk to you.
Thank you, Paul.
As part of our Prevention Magazine interview series, we're going to talk to you today a little bit about Stretch Away the Pain. I just think that is such an important concept. You do so many interesting things, and so we're going to turn this into two episodes, Kathy. The first one, because I can't wait to talk to you about boxing and all of that. So we'll get there. But I think for today, we're going to stick to this idea of stretching away the pain, because you just have so many interesting things to say about this. How do you kind of describe it specifically to our audience of older adults?
So Pilates is a full body engagement workout that meets you where you are. Many people are apprehensive about training in Pilates because they think that it's going to be aggressive. They think that it's going to be, I hear all the time, oh, I would love to do that, but I'm not flexible. And I'm like, no. It's perfect for you. It is actually the most perfect exercise method that I have trained. And I've trained in many modalities. I spend my life always looking for the counterpoint of what I've learned in my decades in Pilates. And I have yet to find anything that touches it. Pilates meets the body where the body is at that point in time. It doesn't matter if you are, and I also don't like to use the word older. Because
okay, good. Me neither.
Right?
Yeah.
Being that, to me, Joe Pilates said, you're only as old as your spine is.
Okay.
Right? So at 60, I look at myself and what I can physically do, and I look at people in their 20s that cannot do that. I also think one of the beautiful things about Pilates is that it does take longevity into account just by its design. With it basically has no impact, right? You're using a spring, which works like a muscle. You begin in a supine position, so there's no stress on the organs from being vertical. There's so many components of the method that you can train a body at any age and any demographic and any ability. I don't know any other method that does that.
So good. So there's equipment involved in Pilates. You say that we can start this in bed, but to really get the full effect and to really stretch away the pain, there is some equipment that we use. So maybe describe that briefly and tell us how that contributes to healthy aging, because this idea of stretching away the pain based on the book that you've written and all the work that you've done for prevention, I think is really what our audience is going to want to know about.
Well, so in the book, believe it or not, I don't really use equipment. I use household tools which emulate the equipment in the studio to give feedback to your body, whether you're pressing on a wall or you're seated in a chair to get feedback for your pelvis, or you have your back up against the wall. You're using the items in your home to give you tactile information for alignment and resistance. In the Pilates studio, there is a host of equipment that was all designed to build a better mat. So your mat work, which the stretches in the bed are precursors for, is the goal. Your goal of Pilates work is to be able to execute the mat work. The mat work is what recalibrates the spine. It detoxifies the body. It brings you, I like to say, back to homeostasis, brings you back to a balance, both physically and emotionally, when executed correctly. The equipment of Pilates was originally built to help build those exercises and the skills needed in those exercises. It kind of got marketed in a different way, but if you follow Joe Pilates' path, he was on the Isle of Man, which actually I was given the honor of being the first Pilates instructor to teach a class there several years ago on the Isle of Man, where Bunker 4 was, where he began the method. And he began the method by every day having his bunkmates do a workout. And they were, the rumor has it, they were the only ones that survived the influenza without getting the influenza, because influenza was rampant at that time, by movement, by circulation, by detoxifying their system daily with correct exercise. So the equipment was built or created to help people build the skills for their mat work. Some people may never get to the mat work because of their, limitations, lack of abilities or hypermobilities. They may always work with a different constraint, but the goal is the mat. And everything that I do relates to building those skills for the mat. And that's why in the book, you'll see I systematically go through a series where you'll have breathing, and then you'll have articulation, and then you'll have some abdominal work, gentle to begin with, abdominal work, and then you'll have rotation. All of this systematically helps to get circulation through the body, move it through the system, and purge the body of toxins.
And those toxins and kind of the movement that you're recommending, these exercises, these are the same toxins that produce pain, is that right? And that through these stretches?
Exactly.
Yeah, and maybe tell us.
I mean,
I'm sorry.
So
go ahead.
where there's, sorry. So Joe Pilates described it as when you have pain somewhere, you have lack of circulation. And he described it as, think about fire trucks. You know, you have a fire station, your brain, and your brain sends, oh, there's pain, and it sends these fire trucks to that area to help, break up the pain, right? And there's so many places that you can dispatch fire trucks. So in Pilates, what you're trying to do is break up where those fire trucks would go. You're trying to create space between the joints so that there's circulation. Circulation is what heals. Circulation is what decreases pain. When you have arthritis, it is because there's a hardening. The collagen gets hard. You have inflammation. When you have circulation in there, the circulation, it heals. It brings nutritional blood. It brings nutrient. Oh, I need to do that one again. When you have an injury or an issue, the blood needs to get there so that it can bring nutrition to the area. If you have swelling, if you have a pinch, if you have a joint that is closed, you are not getting circulation in that area. You don't get circulation in that area. The area doesn't get nutrition. The nutrition doesn't heal. So when you're stretching, you're opening up those spaces, and within the space, you find comfort.
Fascinating. It's just so great to talk with you. I just have one final question. Kind of get back to this idea of stretching away the pain. And I wonder, in your experience, have you observed a gender pain gap? So many in our audience are female, and I wonder if, with regard to, and if so, how do you address that in your teaching?
Unfortunately, there is a gender gap, when it comes to pain. I listen. And I think that is one thing that anyone that works with people who are in pain have to do. We have to listen, and we have to understand that this is this person's truth. That they are in pain, and you have to respect it. So when I work with someone, one of the main rules of thumb with Pilates is to stay away from the pain. When you stay away from the pain and you move everything that's around it, it gets circulation to that area. But I've had many, many clients that come to me and they've said, "You're my last resort. I've gone to this doctor. I've gone to that doctor. I had a client that was with me till I moved to Florida for 25 years. And she had pre and menopausal osteoporosis. If she did not do her stretches with me, she couldn't function. She couldn't walk. She was one of my inspirations to write this book and give it to the public with prevention, because I saw with her and my clients how important stretching and movement is, and how as a woman it was kind of push, okay, you're in pain, here, take a pill. Not really hearing, not addressing, not listening, not validating their pain. And there is definitely a gender gap when it comes to pain in women.
Just great talking with you. Catherine Ross Nash has been our guest. Catherine Ross Nash has written the wonderful book, Stretch Away the Pain. You can find out more in Prevention Magazine. We will put links so their audience can find out all of this about soothing those aches and pains without pills, just with stretching. Just some wonderful ideas, Catherine Ross Nash. Thank you for your time, Kathy. Great to talk to you. So nice to communicate. And I'll be selfish here for just a moment and just invite you back. Please come back again and talk to us, because I know our audience is going to be really eager to hear more from you.
Paul, thank you so much. And I am really grateful for you for inviting me onto the show to share this. If I could leave one thing for the audience, move. If it's 1 minute today, move for 1 minute today. Do 2 minutes tomorrow. Just move, because movement is life.
That is great. Yeah, I know that this is going to be such a help for our audience. And thank you for all that you're doing. Congratulations again on this great work. And be well, and we will have you back.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I hope you've enjoyed our March 2024 Prevention Magazine Editor-in-Chief interview series with Sarah Smith. Today, we spoke with Sarah and Catherine Ross Nash about Catherine Ross Nash's new book and her article in the upcoming March issue titled Stretching Away the Pain. We talked to Sarah Smith, the editor-in-chief, about springing forward into more daylight hours and great rejuvenating activities for our audience. Sarah also debunked common misconceptions about cancer causes and risks. Please check that article out too. And Sarah then told us about the March 2024 Prevention Magazine feature story, How to Keep Your Body Young. Sarah says this isn't just about looking good, it's about feeling good and staying healthy. So check out the March 2024 edition, and thank you, Sarah and Catherine Ross Nash, for your invaluable insights and time. And thank you, our audience, for tuning in. Remember, knowledge is power, and it's never too late to live your best life. The Not Old Better Show Prevention Magazine Health and Wellness interview series on radio and podcast. Check out the issue in March, coming up here in just a matter of time. And please sign up for the Prevention Magazine Premium Program. Everything will be in our show notes today. Please be well, be safe, and remember, let's talk about better. The Not Old Better Show Prevention Magazine Health and Wellness interview series. Until next time, stay informed and stay healthy. Thanks, everybody. We will see you next month.